Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Calexico Unified School District regular board meeting. Reconvene to open session. Announcements of actions taken in closed session, none. None. G, presentation, 1, CISC benefit update.
Thank you, President Calderon. So, at the board's request, the board had requested for a presentation on our benefits program and how our new program is going with CISC. So we asked Ms. Julie Revoir from CISC to provide a presentation to the board and bring us some updates and some changes that had been made. And so without further ado, I'll stop talking and let Ms. Revoir do our presentation here tonight. Thank you, Ms. Revoir.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for inviting me here tonight to make this presentation about, a big change recently with the school district. My name's Julie Revoir with Keenan. We are the benefit consultants for the school district. You can go to the next one. Next slide. I've been working with the district a number of years. We're the broker for the school district on all of your health plans, not just your medical plan. What I wanted to do today is talk about CISC, who they are, who Keenan is, and then how we work together, and about the differences in the plan so you can kind of better compare and contrast them. Any questions I'm glad to take, if you have any at all. So next slide, please. So CISC stands for Self-Insured Schools of California. They are a JPA, Joint Powers Authority, and they're very big. They have 460 district members, 460 districts, 360,000 members, which includes employees and their families. And that's just in the middle of 2022. They have consistent renewals. They're very responsible and reliable in their underwriting. And what I mean by that, underwriting is calculating the premiums, the funding to make sure there's enough money to pay all the medical claims and prescription drug claims for those 360,000 members. They're very good at that. They don't buy business, I guess is what I'm trying to say with that. They're very responsible. So it's a good pool, very big. There's 7 districts in the valley participating. You're the 7th, and Brawley High was the first to participate in the pool. So there are a lot of, I'd say more than half the districts are in CISC out here, so it's not unfamiliar to the valley. Next, please. So who's AP Keenan? We're your employee benefit consultant for the district. And by that, I mean all of you. The district management, the employees. We don't work for CISC or any insurance company. We work for you. You're our boss. We're the liaison with CISC. I call us the boots on the ground. They're located in Kern County. That's a long ways away from here, and I'm a lot closer. So we're the boots on the ground, and we work together. We're a team to make sure that you have the best possible insurance with the best possible customer service. So Keenan is in charge of all of your benefits, not just your medical, so your dental, your vision, etc. We also provide an online platform, Benefit Bridge, which has been here for years in different forms. And this was the way I think most of you went online and enrolled instead of filling out paper forms. And it also is the source for communication. We also prepare a benefit guide for the program, and we run, or manage, I should say, a wellness program, which will continue with CISC. Next, please. So why was CISC the best option for the district? Anthem could no longer really compete financially on a standalone direct basis anymore. The insurance costs were just too high. The CISC pool, with all 460 members, they can spread that risk amongst a lot more members than what are 2,000 here at the district. And the CIS pool could better handle that risk, and it gave more options too, I think. Every school district in the Valley has Anthem Blue Cross too, whether you're in CISC or the VIVA out here. It's the best network for the Valley. You know, the savings for the district was extremely significant, of over $1.8 million. And that's probably being a little conservative too. And what I mean by that is if you had stayed with Anthem on a direct standalone basis, you would have paid that much more for the insurance. So it really gave you an opportunity to save for pretty much the same plan of benefits. I think the biggest thing, and with working with the district for years, is there is no interruption in medical providers. That Anthem Blue Cross providers and SIMSA are exact same that you had prior to July 1. And that's huge, because that's where there's the most issues. If you had moved to another insurance company, something like that, we would have had a lot of issues. So that was huge, to be under the umbrella of SIMSA and be able to keep Anthem. Improved copays. You're going to hear me say this a few times with the generics. They're actually free at Costco. Your Medicare self-pay retirees, they actually save almost $3,000 a year by this move. So I'm sure they can think of a better way to spend their money. And then CIS takes over the billing for them, which saves your HR and accounting department some time too. Next, please. So what are some enhancements, or maybe easier put, what was the benefit before or when you were on direct basis with Anthem? What is it now with CISC? So before, you had an annual deductible of $100, the maximum of $300 for a family. Now there is no deductible. People love those plans. It lowers your paperwork. You won't, that $100 deductible could have been a real pain trying to figure out if you owe it or not. That goes away. Annual out-of-pocket maximum was $4,000 for a family. Now it's $3,000. The hospice care, 20% copay. Now there's no copay. The prescription drugs, you had $5 copay. Now it's $0 at Costco. The chiro, you don't have any maximums anymore on the chiropractor. But both have to be prior authorized after the 5th visit. That doesn't change. Your employee assistance program that you had in existence before, there was a 6-visit maximum per incident or issue. Now there's no maximum visits. And those visits are free. All the rest of these are services, added value, things that you didn't have access to before. And I'll go into more detail at the end to save a little bit of time. But there's a long list. Now there'll be ability for annual on-site flu shot clinics, biometric screenings, teledoc for free, MD Live, enhanced cancer benefits if you should be in that predicament, Carum Health, which is scripts, has to do with surgeries, Vita Health, digital, which really helps people with certain conditions. Hinge Health is what I wish I had. It's for working on, sore backs and knees and that kind of thing. And Maven Maternity is brand new benefit for those that are pregnant and for postpartum. So next, please. So what's different? There are some things that were a little bit different. And I've kind of put them in order. The ambulatory surgical center is required to be used for these 4 procedures, like a colonoscopy. And there are a number of locations in Imperial Valley, tons in San Diego, and probably Yuma if you live out that way. These standalone surgery centers are 2 to 3 times less expensive than if it's in the hospital outpatient facility. And the hospitals here, they won't refer you to their own hospital. So it is your responsibility. Remember this, a lot of education has to go into this, that they need to refer you to an ambulatory surgical center. So that's different. You were able to go anywhere you wanted for those type of things. Now it is more limited, and it'll save millions for the plan. Keep our rates down. You must use Carum Health or Scripps or a blue distinction provider for your hip, knee, and spine surgery. And I know for me, I would want to use Carum Health Scripps for that anyways. I think 90% of us would go to Scripps if we were in that boat, so it's a real plus. The emergency room copay did increase from $25 to $100. The ambulance copay increased from $0 to $100, so there was increases there. Next, please. The prescription drug plan. The copays didn't change, except for the generics at Costco. But there is a different drug formulary or list of covered drugs. And it will impact maybe 5 to 10% of the members, not employees, the entire families. Some may be asked to try different prescriptions that they've taken for years and years. And that's called step therapy, because things change. And there is a one-time exception for a doctor to get involved and provide the medical necessity of why you have to take that drug. So people will run into that, and you might not be used to it. Generics are prescribed unless the doctor can provide medical necessity of why a brand is needed. So this is a little different. Generics were always prescribed first. But this, the doctor has to prove medical necessity in order to get the brand copay. Otherwise, there'll be significant out-of-pocket if you want to stick with that brand. And I think this has been the most sensitive issue for people, and we knew it. We knew that was going to happen, and we tried to educate people and so forth. That's always a sensitive part. The network for pharmacies, if you go do retail, stayed the same, except for Walgreens and Calexico Pharmacy are not in the network. So you got your Bonds, your Targets, etc. Costco is the mail order provider, which is a 90-day supply for chronic conditions like blood pressure, asthma, high cholesterol. And if you don't want it mailed to you, you can go into Costco and pick up the 90 days. So it's up to you, but you can get the 90 days there at Costco, which is a real plus. And you don't have to be a member of Costco to go there. For alcohol or drugs, you don't have to be a member. So
Same thing.
same thing. You're right. Next, please. So what's new? I went through that list really quick. It's going to be broken out by a couple things. All CISC members are eligible for the following things: the flu shot clinic, the annual biometric testing, which will work well with your wellness program, the continued wellness program, and we'll have a lot more resources with CISC than we had before CISC. Next, please. The Employee Assistance Program. This really excellent program, and you've only had it for a couple of years, so I hope to educate employees how to use that more, but everyone has access to that. Teladoc medical experts. This is if you should get a serious diagnosis and you want a second opinion. And they're from world-class providers. So they work with your doctor, get the medical records, look at it, get a second opinion, totally independent, and we'll let you know, and then you and your doctor decide what you do. They might totally agree, they might totally disagree, but at least you get another opinion in a really serious situation. So it's an awesome benefit. And that's everybody, whether you have SIMSA or Anthem. Next, please. So the following are only for Anthem Blue Cross members. So there's the MD Live. Remember, you must register. You already have to do this. You have this benefit already called Live Online or something like that. But register. There's $0 copay through 2023, September 2023. Excellent way to get 24/7 Great for moms. They know they need antibiotics for their kids' ears. Great way to use this benefit. If you know what you got, you know what you need, this is the way to do it. The enhanced cancer benefit, this is where if you should get in that predicament, you get to go to the Oncology Center of Excellence program. And there are different providers that are in that, but you get top-notch care and options with that. And all of these things are free, included in the CIS program. The Care and Health, that's no cost. Hip, knee, and spine surgical options. Even if you had a deductible, you wouldn't have it with Carum because they cover everything, and they cover travel expenses for family member, hotel. It's an excellent benefit. Vita Health, digital health coaching app. This is something you need to register for. You need to be either pre-diabetic, diabetic, hypertension. If you get in there on time, you can actually reverse the conditions using Vita. This is about the second year it's been available, maybe third. It's an excellent program. It's been very successful. Major differences in people's lives. Next, please. $0 copay generic medications. I kind of hit that a lot, don't I? Of course, it excludes certain narcotics and cough medicines. Hinge Health. This is really cool. It's a digital program for back and joint pain that seem to go with getting older. It's free access to wearable devices and monitoring devices, unlimited coaching, individual, not in a Zoom group of 20, and physical therapy. Maven Maternity, brand new. It's 24 access to virtual maternity and postpartum support in case there are any issues there. And I've heard if you go through the whole program, you do get free diapers, so for a year, I think it is. So that can be a big deal.
Yeah.
We're thousands probably. Next, please.
Not probably. More cost,
Definitely,
more
yeah.
cost.
It's been a while, so I don't know, but I'll have to look next time. I'll be shocked. So this is my last slide, and I just think employee communication education is critical in your health and welfare benefit program regardless. But when there's change like we went through, I think it's really critical. In different ways we've tried to do that, ideas we've had, and things you'll see probably more of, is we do create this annual guide, really good, useful for new hires, although I advise all the employees to read it. The insurance committee, excellent way to communicate to them the changes and so forth, and they can bring it out to their constituencies. We'd love to do on-site visits, sit in the lunchroom if people do that anymore. Attend union meetings, monthly newsletter that's short and to the point, because we all get zillions of emails. Q&A Zoom sessions, if that's useful, whether one-on-one or group. Videos, I think we'll see that more in Benefit Bridge. We'll add that in. The district website on that right side, I know you can't read it, is all the information basically that I've been talking about that's available to all of you. So that's all I had to say. I don't know if you have any questions at all. My contact information is there. Please let me know if you have questions or.
Any questions, board member? I don't have any. Thank you very much for your presentation.
I just have one comment. On page 8, they may be asked to try other prescriptions. I have someone I know that was on a prescription for drug for so much time. All of a sudden, they were asked to switch to another drug. I mean, why? Just because you call it step therapy.
Well,
if
I
it's
know.
working, if the doctor
was,
knows what they're prescribing to their patient.
I know that it can be hard. I think the best example I have of that is things do change, more modern kind of drugs. So I see both sides. I see that could be true. But in certain diagnoses, especially mental health and so forth, you don't want to budge on that. So I've really fought for a number of people on that. You don't touch that. No, I don't care if it's 50 years old, the drug they take. that, so I've assisted people in that, but it is I see both sides of it. You know, it saves some people's lives too. It's lowered their side effects and so forth. It's a new look at what they're taking, really.
Okay, thank you.
But if you know people in that boat, and I know, oops, you know, the HR team knows, you know, refer them to us so we can assist. I can't say I can get every drug for everyone, but I sure will do my very best to, you know, get what they need.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'd like to say, President Calderon, board members, that Ms. Revar has been extremely responsive to our phone calls, to our meetings. We're Zooming, we're meeting in person. So I appreciate working. I worked with other brokers before, and I've just really appreciated her being so on the spot there for us with the information. And so thank you, Ms. Revar, for being there, and look forward to our continued partnership.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me
Thank you.
today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
2, facility summer construction projects.
Thank you, President Calderon. So, over the summer, as is the case in a lot of times, you know, the district is busy at work while our students and a lot of our staff members are enjoying their summer vacation, are going on their trips, on their different entertainment time. But a lot of our employees are hard at work at our school district. So today we have 2 presentations that covers those employees and the work that happens within our facilities and operations and whatnot. So today, Mr. Daniel Campo, our Director of Facilities, Maintenance, Operations, and Transportation, has a quick presentation, and it's an update on a lot of the summer work that's been taking place over the summer. Danny?
Good evening. Thank you for the introduction, Mr. President, board members, and Mr. Jimenez, and everybody else. Good evening. Some of the projects we've been working on, and this is what you guys authorized to work on, and you know, when you vote on it, these are some of the projects like the Kennedy Gardens NPR leveling, and the Rocket Switch repair, Rocket Cafeteria flooring, Blanche Charles differential settlement, dual parking lot drop-off and pickup area, Jefferson and Main's fence entrance fencing, district-wide playgrounds repairs and installation, Rockwood nurse's office modernization, classroom carpet and vinyl at Kennedy Gardens and Dual, Little Bulldogs repairs and fencing at Mains, CHS marquee, IT data center conference room, and the CHS concrete repairs at the band room. These are all projects that were done for construction purposes only. The next one were the summer projects. This is where we actually get the summer help to help us out, and what they do is help clean the classrooms, paint fences district-wide, strip and wax and seal all the floors district-wide before the students come back, shampoo all carpets, deep clean all bathrooms, classrooms, offices, and clean all the windows, ceiling tiles, and furniture. All this is done by the summer staff that stays behind and cleans up. The next picture is, this is how the Kennedy Gardens NPR room looked before it was actually modernized. As you could see, it had like some type of steps going down. It was very small. It only seated 8 tables. If you go to, and that's the middle pictures during construction. If you go to the next slide, that is how it looks now. It actually looks a lot smaller now. We're missing tables, so we're trying to purchase some tables to make it look bigger and for the staff to use it more and the kids. The next picture would be, this was a big project that we had a sewage repair. This is how it looked when it started. And the next one would be, this is how it ended up being. The next slide would be the cafeteria. So this all had hazmat, and it had to have hazmat abatement over the summer. And it had to be repaired. As you could see, the floor was pretty damaged. That's part of the kitchen right there. If you go to the next slide, this is how it ended up being after it was completed. And this was all done by our staff. This was the differential settlement at Blanche Charles. As you could see, the school was, the cement was sinking and the school was lifting. So what they did is they took most of the cement out and re-leveled it. As you could see, that area, that was an ADAD Williams inspection that we were not in compliance with, so we took it out. As you could see in the next picture, this is how it looks now. Open wide. We're adding shades to that area to make it bigger and for kids to be able to play with it more. The next slide would be the dual parking lot. This is how it looked before it got started. And the next pictures, this is how it looks now. These are all summer projects. Mains, this is Main's entrance fence, the fencing at the entrances. This was because, as you could see before this fence, this was the entrance to the kinder area. And people had access and the kids were able to access to the street right away. So at Jefferson, these were the entrances where there was no fencing. The actual fencing was in the back, as you can see. And we added all that to make sure the kids wouldn't, get out and people wouldn't come in the house at the same time. We're adding a buzzer and a camera to both entrances so people could be buzzed in instead of actually having somebody get up and let them in. This next slide, this is how our playgrounds looked before we started repairing them. The last school right now is Blanche Charles, and the reason why they're a little bit behind schedule, they all got COVID, so we're a little bit behind schedule. They're supposed to be done this week, but they haven't been done. This is how it looked. We replaced all the if you go to the next slide. So on the top, you see the new playgrounds that were added to all the sites. And at the bottom, the ones that were salvageable, we were able to replace the rubber on the bottom and keep the old playgrounds still in use. So everybody has two playgrounds except for, everybody has two playgrounds, one old and one new. Except the kinder area at Blanche Charles because that was unusable, so we had to trash it. The next one is the marquee. It says happy birthday to Alejandro Figueroa. That was his birthday. And the next slide, I believe that should be it, pretty much it. That's all we did. Thank you, appreciate it.
Any questions, board? No. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ocampo.
And President Calderon, I'd be remiss right now if I didn't acknowledge the leadership of the board and the staff that made all that happen. That doesn't happen by mistake. That doesn't, happen in a vacuum. That takes leadership. That takes decision making and sometimes making tough decisions. And so I do want to, at this time, take the opportunity to recognize the leadership of our school board and of our staff leadership as well. To make all those incredible improvements for our students. Everything you saw here today, at the end of the day, benefits kids, and that's what we're here for. I know that over the summer, and I had just gotten here, so there was a couple of things that came up. There was a leak here or something there that I would call the board and say, hey, can we move forward with fixing this? And the answer was, absolutely. We need to get our schools ready for the day one of school, and so I appreciate the board's support and leadership for years in the playgrounds and the floors and all that sort of stuff. So it takes a village, and I appreciate and thank also and recognize the board for your leadership and work on this as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jimenez. 3, developer fee analyst. Who's giving that presentation?
Yes, thank you. So I'd like to, at this point, ask Ms. Maribel to come up to the podium. She will be introducing our presenters tonight.
Good evening, President, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Mr. Jimenez, and everyone present here tonight. My name is Maribel Paez, and I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Business Services. Tonight, we brought our school facility consultants, Kevin Sullivan and Jared Anderson, to do a quick presentation regarding our developer impact fees. Also, please know that we have our facility legal counsel, Karina Samaniego from DWK, if you guys have any further questions. Thank you.
Good evening, Board President, Board members, Superintendent. I want to thank you for asking me to come down here to give a brief discussion about developer fees. Next slide, please. Oh, are they there? So developer fees. Developer fees are the mechanism that the legislature, the state legislature, has provided the district as an opportunity to offset the impacts of new home construction and new commercial industrial construction in the district. There are 2 types of developer fees, 2 broad types. There's level 1, which is a capped fee, which was introduced by the legislature in 1986. Any district in the state that can show a need or a nexus, which we'll talk about in a second, which is a relationship between new construction of homes or new construction of commercial industrial development, to charge a fee. It's a capped fee. At the moment, that fee for residential is capped at $4.79 a square foot, and for commercial, it's 78 cents a square foot. Level 2 developer fees were established by the legislature in 1998 when the school facility program was enacted, which is the state construction assistance program. That is can we go back to the That's an uncapped. Oop, that's an that's an uncapped fee, but it is a fee that we'll just leave right there. That's an uncapped fee that is that has more strings attached to it as far as how the district qualifies to levy it and how the calculations for that fee are implemented. So next slide, please. It's been brought to my attention that there's been some interest in what other districts in Imperial County are able to charge, or what level of fees that they're collecting. This slide includes some of your neighboring districts, elementary districts such as El Centro and Brawley, which serve a slightly different population than Calexico as a unified district, Central Union High School District, which of course serves 912, and then Imperial Unified. All of these districts at the moment are charging level 1 fees. I don't necessarily work with all of them, so I can't tell you exactly why they perhaps are only charging level 1 versus another fee. But these districts are all sharing in the maximum K-12 fee for residential of $4.79 a square foot. Brawley appears, at least from the information that they share publicly, to be charging an older amount, but they're also appears to be working on updating that number to the 2022 allowance. So next slide, please. So level 2 developer fees, which is what I'll spend most of my time talking about tonight, are, as I said earlier, they came into effect in 1998, and those fees are tied most closely to the school facility program, as they're intended to represent the district's share of a project within the school facility program. So the state school facility program says, we'll give you half of the money that we think it'll cost you to build a school or a classroom. You guys need to provide the other half. What the level 2 fee is intended to do is to make new residential construction supply their portion of that amount that you would need for that type of a project. The calculation is based on state allowances for construction, state allowance or state directions on how you do acquisition calculations and site development calculations. Next slide, please. As I said earlier, all of this is based on a nexus. It's showing that there's a reasonable relationship between the fee that we're proposing and what we need and what we're proposing to spend that money on. In Calexico's case, our analysis using the prescribed state formulas show that we have a need for additional classrooms at 7, 8, and 9, 12. And so that's our nexus. That's the fundamental rationale for us to be able to charge this fee. Some of the other reasons why our fee is perhaps a level 2 fee as opposed to a level 1 fee is our generation rate. So what we do when we look at the calculation, and we'll talk about that a little bit in more detail in a moment, is we want to know how many students on average are coming out of new construction projects, new residential construction, new units that are being constructed within the district. We do that by looking at the addresses of units that have paid fees recently against a student address list that the district provides, so that we know for sure that there's a 6th grader here or a 7th grader here or a 10th grader saying that they live at this particular address. In Calexico, it appears from our research, using information provided by the city and corroborated by student address data from the district, that we have a slightly higher than average number of students coming out of new units. And then the other thing that is happening here in Calexico is information that the city and the county have provided indicate that the construction that is happening, the new units, they tend to be on the smaller side, on the square footage. So they're not, massive homes. They tend to be sort of more modest in size. Next slide, please. So I mentioned earlier that the level 2, being an uncapped fee, comes with it some additional requirements that the district demonstrate in order to be able to charge that fee. So the way that Calexico qualifies to charge level 2 fees is we have demonstrated that we have eligibility in the state program for new classrooms, and we've filed applications to get state matching funds. We've been able to show that we have more than 20% of our classrooms are in relocatables. The information that our office was able to collect indicates that approximately 40% of our classrooms are relocatables. And in addition, we have capital facility debt. So money that the district has obtained through general obligation bonds, through your Measure V and Measure Q, basically your local effort in providing new facilities, in excess of 20 or 30% of the district's available bonding capacity. And from information that we received from staff, it's my understanding that you're currently at 99.95% of your bonding capacity. So if we can get the next slide, please. think that one could arguably say that the district is doing a pretty maximized effort on the local end to provide your share of the need for new facilities. So we've maximized our bonded indebtedness. We're pretty high on the number of portable classrooms as a ratio to our permanent. And the level 2, the level 2, the concept there is that, and this is something that Tom Duffy, who's, some of you may know, he's been an advocate for schools in California for more than 40 years. He's coined this phrase that I like to use, three-legged stool. There are 3 components that come into funding school facilities in California since 1998. The first one is local funding. So general obligation bonds, the wherewithal of the local district to generate funding to construct the facilities that they need. The second piece is the state program. The state's supposed to provide constitutional requirement that the state provide some amounts of money for school facilities. And then the third piece is that developers, that the folks who are building new units and potentially causing new students to move to your district also mitigate their share of the impacts. Next slide, please. This is the basic fee equation for level 2. We take the number of new units, the number of new homes that are going to be anticipated to be constructed in the district. We take your student generation rate, the number of students that we anticipate to come out of those homes that are going to be constructed, and we multiply that by the per pupil facility cost, which we've talked a little bit about, but we'll talk about in a little bit more detail in a second. It's the amount that the state believes that it will cost to construct a new classroom, or potentially even a new school. Then we divide that by that total amount, by the amount of square footage that those units represent. And I mentioned earlier that in Calexico, the number of, the size of the units is a little bit on the small side, so that denominator is not going to be as big a number as perhaps in some other jurisdictions. That math ends up with our cost per square foot that we charge as a level 2. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, the level 2 uses very specific criteria that are outlined in statute. The student generation rate is based on information that we derive from the last 5 years of homes that were actually constructed in the district. This is information that we get from the city through payment of developer fees through the certificates that they bring to us so that the fees can be paid. And it's compared to an actual student address list of students that have reported that they live at these particular addresses. The costs for each of the students, the construction cost is dictated by the state allocation board. We're allowed to augment that by local costs for the site development, which is like your utilities, your rough grading, things like that. And then costs for acquisition if we have to acquire property in order to either construct a new school or to make an addition. All of these are then compared to information that we get from the city and the county on the number of new construction projects, number of new new units that are being constructed, new homes, and the square footage of those units as prescribed by the government code. Next slide, please. And then as far as implementation goes, the level 1 fees are adjusted by the state the state allocation board every 2 years in even numbered years. The level 2 is reviewed by the district once a year. Currently we're charging roughly exactly $8.28 per square foot. Our office has been working on updating that fee for 2022. And we're calculating currently, again, based on all this information that we received from outside agencies and looking at the generation rate information that we obtain from the district and other sources, at roughly $10.76 a square foot. That seems like a big jump, but just kind of want to put that in context. The state allocation board identified a 15.8% increase from January of 2021 to January of 2022 in just the construction inflation allowance. And quite frankly, just the information that I get from, and it may be corroborated by information you get also from your construction folks, that has not subsided. That has probably continued to the point where I don't have really a good estimate on what the January of 2023 number will be, but I don't see that it's going to be ebbing back into a negative or even necessarily curtailing too much from the direction it's been going. And then the last piece is we've seen an increase in the multifamily student generation rate. So the number of students that are coming out of multifamily construction in the district has increased over the prior report that we put together for the district. Next slide, please. So just in conclusion, I just want to emphasize that the district qualifies for level 2 fees pursuant to the government code. We meet all the trigger requirements that we talked about earlier. We've done pretty much maximum effort on a local level to offset impacts, provide new facilities as necessary for students from existing residential development. And the fees, again, as we talked about, are calculated on a per student and per square foot basis. So we are only charging a proportional amount or the proportional impact of any new home that's being constructed. We're not collecting more money based on a per square foot allowance than we need to house the student that's coming from that new construction. Next slide, please. And with that, I think the next one is questions.
Yeah, I have a question. So therefore, combining level 1 and level 2, current 8.28 and 4, that gives us $12, right?
No, so level 1 is one fee structure,
Right.
and level 2 is what's known as an alternative fee. So we can charge one or the other.
One or the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if a level 1 district would never be able to collect more than $4.79 per square foot on a new home that's being constructed.
Right.
And so you are either a level 1 or level 2. Many of those districts, and this is just me speculating, may also qualify on the trigger side to collect a level 2 fee.
Right.
But then they go in through that calculation that I showed where you do the units times square footage or units times SGR times construction cost divided by square footage. They may find that in their specific situation, their level 2 fee is lower than what they would otherwise collect under level 1, and so they don't bother going through the extra steps.
So the max impact fee would be $8.28 then.
The math currently for Calexico is
Right.
the 8, yes.
Now, like El Centro, you said they have the elementary school district at 4.
They would be able to collect their share of the $4.79.
Okay,
So
then
off-
the combining high school and the elementary, that'd be 8.
No. So again, K-12,
Right.
$4.79 is the maximum that can be collected on a K-12 basis.
Like K-12.
So
okay.
each one of these districts, the Central Union High School District and Brawley and El Centro and McCabe, all would have fee sharing agreements where they would define how much of the $4.79 would go to the elementary and how much would be retained by the high school district or vice versa. Roughly, it's like so usually 66-point-something% to 33% or
Okay.
60-40 or something like that.
Right.
There's that's roughly sort of up and down the state what I see. It's rarely 50-50. Although I know with some high school districts who feel like they're entitled to more of the share because their facilities tend to cost more. But usually it's a sort of an even split. It's 13 grades divided,
Okay.
8 or 9 grades divided by 13 kind of thing.
And if you don't have a level 2 impact fee, you would not be eligible to get 50% reimbursed by the state.
No, not necessarily, but any district can participate in the state program.
Right.
But in order to charge level 2 developer fees, you must be able to show that you have eligibility for the state to give you 50% share, if that makes sense. So since the level 2 fees are intended to be a matching share for a project, one of the ground rules for being able to charge that fee is that you're capable or you have the entitlement to request money for a project, if that makes sense. So if you can't get money from the state, then you can't ask for level 2 developer fees. You're stuck at level 1.
Now, does that hamper the ability to issue bonds? Like there's one bond, you get max 55% or 52% requirement on the electoral vote.
We may be sort of going into sort of bond council question territory, but I'm not aware of how, Karina, I'm not aware that that any of that not qualifying for state money would necessarily hamper a district from going out for a Prop 39 school bond.
Okay. Because I know at Central they had a 55% requirement, but they didn't get it, or 52, 53, whatever it was.
I think it's 55%. So
55%.
again, this is not really my cup of tea, but there are usually two different types of bond. There's a 2/3 general obligation bond,
exactly.
and then there's a Prop 39 bond, which lowers the requirement to 55%, but has some strings attached to ensure
Exactly.
how the money's spent.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. So, because we've had a lot of projects, Measure V and Measure Q, right? So, and we have asked for reimbursement from the state. So is that one of the reasons why we have to charge level 2? Because otherwise, if we didn't, the state would say, well, why are you asking for reimbursement if you're not charging level 2 fees? Is that
There is some of that for districts that are financial hardship. I don't know if Calexico is financial hardship, but being in line for the state dollars is important. But also making sure that the district has the local matching share requirement. And again, since the district is already very close to maximizing its bonding capacity, to the extent that you need additional funds to match state dollars, one of the few additional revenue streams you would have would be developer fees.
Okay.
Again,
Cool.
I don't know if I mentioned this, but the district gets one opportunity to mitigate impact from new residential construction, new homes that are being constructed, and that is through the developer fee. Once they're constructed, or if developer fees aren't charged, for instance, then there's no opportunity for that particular development to pay its fair share.
Okay, so let me rephrase my question. So let's say that we decided to only ask for level 1 fees. Then if we ask for reimbursement for the projects that we have, would the state say no because you're not charging level 2 fees?
I don't know that I can answer that. It may not. It would depend on whether or not the district was financial hardship, and
Okay.
our office doesn't work with the district on that side of the
Okay.
shop.
All right, thank you.
Because you mentioned earlier in your presentation that most of our neighboring districts were charging level 1 fees. So, and I think that's where it comes that we're charging level 2, and it's put us in a situation where we have to go back and actually respond to our constituents because they're paying actually 8 and change, So I think Mr. Calderon's question is valid. I mean, is these development fees tied to our bond money or what we get back from the state, or
The developer fees are the way that the developer fees work is they allow the district to collect from new development the amounts that the state deems necessary as the local matching share for a new construction project. And so that is why the district is allowed to charge a fee in excess of the level 1 $4.79. The district qualifies to collect those fees from new residential units in order to collect sufficient funds to match a project with the state.
I mean, we're seeing how expensive it is to construct. I mean, all the costs are going up, and we can't bond anymore to do any more schools. So the only source of income is the impact fees, the developer fees. And if you're not going to maximize your revenue, then you're going to fall short.
well, it's good. I mean,
Now, for the construction of schools, the only source of revenue is either the impact fees or unless the state can help you, correct, Maribel? There's no other source of revenue. And bonding is out of the question anymore.
Mac.
Yeah.
Miss, okay, well, let's go back to our meeting. And, all right, have you, Ms. Alvarado, I know you have a request for, to speak, if we can wait a minute, and then, if you have any further questions, I'm sure Ms. Byers would be available.
Any other questions?
Thank you for the presentation.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hold, well, wait, and let me finish with 4, and then you can speak, okay? All right, 4, Food Service Department presentation.
Thank you so much, President Calderon. So, similar to like what we did, a quick update on our facilities program. We've also asked today, as we start the school year, to also ask Mr. Gilbert Venegas, our Director of Food Services, and his team here to do also a quick presentation on our Food Services Department and the incredible work that they've also been doing, again, for our students. I know that a lot of times we spend a lot of time talking about a lot of things, but I like to, as much as we can, keep also at a board meetings, look at, you know, our students and look at their faces or look at their learning environments and facilities. So I've asked Mr. Venegas to provide us a presentation on a very important component of what we do, and that's our nutrition, school nutrition program. Mr. Venegas?
Good evening, President Calderon Jr., board members, Superintendent Jimenez, fellow administrators, and members of the public. Today, well, my name is Gilbert Venegas. I'm the Director of Food Services. I'm joined today with the 2 Nutrition Services Supervisors. We have Kania Arellano on your left. She's in charge, oversees supper and snack. And then we have Ms. Diana Ladron de Guevara. She is in charge of breakfast and lunch. And we have also 8 or 7 office staff that all support our food service employees, you know, from the first person that's there to the last person that's there, and after hours, all hours, you know, answering questions and helping out. The first slide you're going to see, you're going to have a short video of a student that was being interviewed, you know, regarding our you know, what he gets, you know, during lunchtime, and it's just a little glimpse of what it was like pre the closures, just so I can give you a little example and compare pre and, you know, right now what we're doing. So if you can please play the video.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Hiro Aguilar, and I'm currently a junior at Flexico High School.
How often per week do you visit the school cafeteria for lunch, and what do you like eating there?
Well, I usually visit the cafeteria about 5 days out of the weekdays, which being all of them. A, because it's affordable, we don't have to worry about any purchases, and the fact that they have a variety of healthy options. Personally, what I usually get every day is a tuna sandwich, and I usually side it with some vegetables and the fruit options that they have.
So pre-closure, we had a open salad bar, as you can see in the back of the picture. In the front of the picture, we had a toppings bar, finishing bar, which is everything for their sandwiches, you know, and we also had a fruit bar, fresh fruit that's cut every day, fresh vegetables like jicama and cucumber. You know, so everything was out there for students to get, regardless of which line they went to. At the high school, they have up to 13 varieties of options, from pizza, different variety of pizzas, different kind of burgers, different kind of sandwiches, wraps, salads, and then the entree that's served district-wide. And if you can go to the next slide, please. As you can see there, we were serving in boats and trays and bowls. Now we're serving in aluminum containers that have a clear lid. So it's the same options. Right there, you'll see them, you know, putting our chicken and mashed potatoes with corn in the same kind of trays, sectional trays. The burgers and the potatoes or pizza and potatoes. And again, it's all the same portions, the same type of food. It's just packaged differently, just to ensure food safety.
Just the added element of food safety. There was always food safety issues that we addressed. If you can go to the next one. The fruit, same kind of fruit. We're just cupping them. We're putting them like in right there. You can see pineapple and melon, and also you're going to see some vegetables like jicama and the cucumber. They pack it with low sodium tahine and lemon packets. You also see that we do the same watermelon slices, different melon slices, but the only difference is they bag them, as you can see in the back. So we have the same options. In the elementaries, they have also, packaged fruit, packaged vegetables. They have side salads. Everything's packaged. They have some of the options that they have at the high school level, and you'll show in the next slide. Here, they're making salads. This is how all our salads come up are made of a cup and a half of romaine and half a cup of spinach. We have from crispy chicken salads to Caesar chicken salads, and we also have vegan options. Right here on the right, you'll see that they have a three bean salad, and we also have Impossible meats. Those faux chicken that they make some of the same type of salads. Next slide, please. Here at Rockwood, like any other elementary, we have the entree that's served everywhere. We have the traditional ones they've already seen there, but they also have an option to grab a sandwich if they don't want the entree that's offered everywhere. They can grab the same type of grab-and-go salads that you saw them make earlier, and also they have grab-and-go packets that kind of resembles like Lunchables with turkey coins, cheese sticks, whole grain crackers, and fruits and vegetables. The students go through the line. They can pick, either what's offered everywhere, and what we offer everywhere, like in the high school, we'll have like carnitas burritos. We'll have quesadillas with carne asada quesadillas. We offer things like tamales, which I hear is very popular. I just heard a parent earlier today telling me about that. Barbacoa, and then we have your traditional, meals like spaghetti and the spaghetti and the mac and cheese and the chili beans. So, we have all those options that are offered, but again, if they don't want them, we always give additional options just so that the student hopefully finds something that they like. Next slide, please. During the summer, thanks for the support and being able to feed the community children. A lot of them are obviously from Calexico Unified School District. We were able to serve close to 200,000 meals over the 4-week period. Every day we served approximately 8,000 meals, 4,000 breakfasts, 4,000 lunches. Just for July alone, we netted 300,000 approximately. That's after all the costs. And our ladies out there are hard at work, ladies and gentlemen. Next slide, please. Here, we also catered for all the professional development that was done for the teachers, and also all the welcome back meetings that they had. A lot of them requested, for catering, so they did continental breakfast. They did breakfast burritos. Next slide, please.
Hello, guys. What do you think about this program?
I really like it because it gives us a chance to eat.
Thank you. What about you? You like it?
I like it.
Do you like to have second chance breakfast? ¿Te gusta second chance breakfast? Sí. Okay. How about you? You like it? Yeah. You like it? Yeah. You like it? Hi, girls. How do you like your breakfast? Thank you. ¿Qué les parece tener la oportunidad de comerse? ¿Sí? ¿Les gusta?
Luego me la puedo llevar a mi casa.
Oh, excelente. ¿Todos felices?
Sí. Buen servicio.
So you can see there on the left, you see how fast the line goes. During the elementaries, they have an hour to feed the students. We have one cart, but it takes, we feed about 400 students in that one cart over an hour because they take them out, by grades. So starting with the little ones in kinder and then, working their way up. In the elementaries, in the high schools, they have, junior high, Willie Moreno, we serve about the same amount of kids, 400 students a day, but theirs is only 8 minutes. And there, to be able to serve them, we put out several carts. And again, the line moves pretty fast, as you can see right there. Everything's shelf stable. As you heard one of the students say that he's going to take it home. Want to make sure that when they take it home and they eat at home, that it's something that's going to be safe to eat. In every school that you see there, we have Blanche Charles, we have Jefferson, Kennedy Gardens, Mains, Rockwood, and Willie Moreno. All those right now are participating in Second Chance Breakfast. All of them went from about an average of 10% participation to 70%. That matches approximately what we're serving for lunch as well. So very high participation numbers thanks to Second Chance Breakfast, and thank you board members for asking about it and pushing that and supporting it. Next slide, please. Right here, every year we have professional development. Our staff members receive at least 12 hours of training, 6 of which is spent on food safety, the temperatures, cross-contamination, storing and everything. So we spend a great deal of it on food safety, but we also spend a lot of time on customer service and all our different programs that we run and all the regulations and requirements that we have. Over here on the left, you'll see that we were accompanied on our first day by Superintendent Jimenez and Assistant Superintendent Lisa Ramirez. They were there to, thank our staff for all the hard work that they've been doing and, just being offering their support. So I really want to, I know we relayed the message also that you guys had for them. We thank them. We're very fortunate to have such a hardworking crew, 80 plus employees, and that, right there you'll see it says not all heroes wear capes, some wear aprons. I really truly believe that. I mean, our staff were working year-round pretty much through that closure, through the pandemic. They were there with a few breaks, but they were there to feed our students, our community children, and they were frontline. They were essential workers. They're very much appreciated. And if you see right there in the bottom, it says thank you bunches for making our lunches. We get posters like that from our students all the time. I just want to highlight that, that they feel the love that they're putting in their work and the time, to feed our staff, for our students. I mean, do you guys have any questions? That's all pretty much how to say.
Pretty much, I just want to thank you guys for everything you do for our students. I mean, it's just evident, just seeing their smiles, it means a lot. The only thing that I do have a complaint about is next time you come and give a presentation, if you could bring us some little fruit cups or something like that, with tajin. That's pretty much it. But thank you so much for everything you guys do. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
And your staff.
And
Thank you.
thank you to your staff also. H, comments from the public. The board will take any and all comments from the public related to an item on the agenda or any other item of district business that is not on the agenda. And we have 2 requests, and they're from Miss Belinda Alvarado. Which one do you want to do first? Okay. Thank you very much. Come up.
Short. Okay. First, I want to commend, I have 2 kids in school. They love breakfast and they love their lunch. I feed them at the house, but they still let me be there at 7:30. I don't want to miss my breakfast. And I mean, commend you because they love, to eat. When I was in school, I hated the school lunch and everything. But anyways, you're doing a good job. They're very picky and they love the food. They eat at home, pero son dragones. So, I just want to tell you, Mr. Calderon, Mr. Jimenez, Mr. Alvarado, Mr. Romero, and Mr. Calderon, Ciro, that, he's a professional, and I'm glad that he comes. I'm part of the Measure V and the Measure Q, as you know, and the basic, Vice Chair, the basic. But I just want to tell you that you need to look at the overall picture, not just, I know what he's saying, and I know where he's coming from. But you have to think about that, like he said, all the other cities do for whatever, it's a lower fee. So what's happening here in Calexico is they go straight, so they cross us. So we do have a big population, but however, we have a decline in student enrollment, and we've seen that's one of our problems that we have to see, well, not me, you guys are the board members, the decline of the student because of the COVID. So he's right. First of all, I would like to see where he's getting in his information. Is it from SCAG or whatever? Now, if he says, and I know that we have to charge because we bonded, okay, and we knew with the Measure Q that we were going to go over the bonding capacity. That's why we canceled the Measure V, the 2 million, and we went to the Measure Q. Okay, so we don't just get fees, or the school district doesn't just get fees from the developers. There's the sales tax, the developers, our bonding ability. So what I would tell you is that we need, first of all, like I told you, I think you were there, Mr. Alvarado, or when we were at the basic, and I said that we need a presentation on the fee structure, how the school actually gets the fees. Remember I told you, I made that comment, and you were there, Mr. Alvarado. Now, the state analysis says that this community is what? It's based on the state analysis, which is good, but we know, we live here. I'm the community, and I can tell you that the numbers and everything that we get from the state and the professionals is different than what we're actually living and the people that are here. And why do I tell you? Because I'm very involved with the construction, with the basic, with everything that is going on. Now, he says that the student generation rate, yes, we have a big student generation rate. Why? Because we live next to Mexicali. So our population is low income. The people, if they can't afford to buy a house here or rent, they go to Mexicali, but they're still U.S. citizens, are students, so they need to come to our district. And we all know that. Another thing that he says, it's true, we need to go and to higher fees, but at $8, it's a lot for right now. So I just want to tell you that it's not just the district. We also have to talk to the city. Why? Because these are the two biggest entities that we have in Calexico. And I would appeal to you and to wait. What he recommended is a recommendation. But remember that the developer fees is part of the equation. Now, how we got here is because we didn't have a dedicated person that would get the fees from the city of Calexico. That was the number one, which now we are getting our share of the school district. Remember, we missed all those developments that weren't paying. So how did we get here? We didn't get here overnight. So I appeal to you that I would like a meeting between you and the stakeholders, the city manager, the planning director, you guys to see the whole picture. Thank you.
All right. Hold on. You got one more request. Or you want to go ahead and... The other one is, it was an AC, I believe.
Okay, so I'm here instead of going to the Calexico Bulldog, see them play in San Diego, because this is personal. I'm here because my 8-year-old came in saying 3 weeks ago that her AC didn't work. Lo dejé. I didn't say anything about it. I said, okay. She tested. She came back at 68. I go, 68? She's a straight A student. Okay. I left her alone. 2 days ago, was it yesterday, she came in. She goes, I feel sick. ¿Qué pasó? Estaba soleada. Estaba soleada because there was no AC. Now, remember that not having an AC is a health and safety issue. Now, if you had an 8-year-old coming home sick because they didn't have a proper AC, you would understand. That's why I'm here. So I would kindly request that I would see the schedule of the AC replacement and repairs of last year. Remember, que Mr. Calderon, Ms. Romero, that you had a beef because last year the school district was spending a lot of money on the ACs, and we went ahead and we changed the companies and stuff. Remember. And also, I would like to see the contracts. Why don't we have a dedicated person? Why do we have to wait? Where's the plan? If they don't have the AC, what's the other plan? Why does my little girl have to go to the library today and tomorrow the cafeteria? Today she was in another room. It was hot. I told her, how was it? It was really hot, or this and that. No, look at the poor teacher. If the administrators don't have an AC, you think they would stay here? No, they go home and they work from home. San Diego School District took their kids. They were allowed to go home because we had a heat wave. I mean, think about it. It's common sense. So I would kindly request, first of all, that what's the plan? What's the schedule? If I don't want this situation to happen again, and I'm pretty sure that Cesar Chavez is not the only school with the AC problem. It's district-wide. So if my little girl is suffering, there's other students that are suffering. Remember, it's a health and safety issue, and we're here for the students. Haven't you said it before? Haven't you said it before? Haven't you said it before? The students. So what are we doing? What's the protocol? The principal, the superintendent, what's the protocol? Who says it's an emergency? Why wait 3 weeks? I wasn't gonna take her to school today. She goes, no, please. I go, no, the same thing happened. So I would kindly ask you to take this into consideration. Make a special meeting so that we can see how we can arrange this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Alvarado. And just for information, that air conditioning will be replaced on Monday morning.
And FYI, I was just informed by you, gave me a call yesterday after 5:30 p.m., correct?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Jimenez, would you like to comment in regards to that? What the whole process was and all as far as that goes, please?
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Alvarado. I did receive several phone calls from several school board members regarding specifically this classroom at Cesar Chavez. Immediately, we followed up with our maintenance department. We sent out technicians out there yesterday when we received these calls. The technicians went out there. They assessed the issue. There was a leak in the system. The unit had repairs multiple times, but they would last about 2 days, and then because of the leak, it would stop blowing cold air. And so at this point, as of yesterday, we made the decision that it wasn't a repair. It required a brand new unit, and so we placed the order yesterday with our contractor, and our contractor confirmed this morning that they will be there first thing Monday morning, replacing a brand new AC unit for this classroom. At the same time, also, we collaborated with the principal there to make sure that the kids would have a classroom setting. Fortunately, at Cesar Chavez, we do have classroom space available so that the kids wouldn't have to go to a cafeteria or a library or whatnot, and to place the kids in a classroom with working air conditioning, so that the kids and students and staff could be in a classroom with air condition as of today, tomorrow, and Monday, and while this gets completed. So we jumped on it immediately. I do, as the superintendent, apologize for any day that any students or any hour or 5 minutes or 10 or 15 minutes that any student or any staff member was in a classroom without air conditioning. That shouldn't happen. We have thousands of classrooms and thousands of units, and they will break down, and we need to have a better and quicker system to have that repaired. We're working on it. Today we met with Mr. Ocampo for over an hour to start addressing how we could address these types of situations at a much faster pace. I know that the intention was made to fix it, and the thought was, okay, it's been fixed, it's been done. We would get another call a couple of days later saying it broke again. So we're going to be putting systems and procedures in place so that won't happen, and that the long term, the permanent fix could be done a lot sooner than 2 weeks later or however long later. So but I do appreciate the input from the community and the information from the community that helps us move on needs of the district and address if there's a lack of a system or procedure, so that we could address it as well.
Thank you, Mr. Jimenez. Any other
for your
questions?
information, yes. The classroom that she was in, the first grader, at the beginning, she was fine. She said during the day it was hot. Just FYI. Now, you do need a system, a maintenance system, and make sure that all of the ACs moving forward, they're addressed. You need somebody dedicated to go because this district is very big. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Alvarado. One, ACT, do we have any representative from ACT? No? CSCA.
Good evening, Sonia Redona, CSCA President. Good evening, audience, board. I'm here, I want to thank for the second breakfast program that we have. It's great, I love it, the kids enjoy it, but there's some problems, okay? We met with this Director of Food Service in June, I believe. Yeah, in June we met. November we met with him, and he said he was gonna. He already had started the program, and that he was gonna increase hours to the staff that was already there, and was gonna get more staff so they can do the breakfast, the second breakfast chance, you know. But we said, okay, that's no problem. We agreed to it, but I would really appreciate if he would meet with CSCA before he starts the programs that he has in mind, so we can see how it's going to work. Right now, there's Rockwood, Kennedy, Mains, and high school. They have the cards, the one person, okay? And some schools that classify is inside, giving out the snacks. Some of them are outside. But there's one school that this person is going through the halls outside. It's hot. How's the weather been lately? Extreme heat waving. This lady is unbelievable the way she does. But you know what? Our food service are so dedicated. They'll do an extra mile, anything. You know? She comes in at 7 in the morning, leaves at 11. So what? 9:40, she has to leave outside. 10:40, she's back. She's got to have a half an hour to complete a form. She was threatened. If she didn't complete that form right, she was going to be moved to another school. Why was this threat done, knowing everybody in food service knows that this person cannot be moved to another school site because she doesn't have transportation. She walks. Okay? That's not right. Some schools, they have 2 cards. The high school really has 4 cards. That's all right. But you know, think about our classified. It's hot there. It's hot. Not only that, there's trash can. There's a lot of trash throwing. The kids will go in recess and, you know, lo tiran ahí en el suelo. So es más trabajo por los que estamos ahí trabajando. Okay, there's no increase of hours. I believe you increased some hours already. But you know what? This has always been a problem with food service. Always. This was my recommendation is each facility of food service have a complete staff. You're paying extra hours anywhere every year. Why don't you increase them and have set, you know, a complete staff, and you don't have to call a sub, you don't have to put extra hours, you don't have to transfer the employee to another place. Okay? I'm just worried that these employees are outside with extreme heat. They're going to get sick. What's going to happen? Okay? Also, there's 9 vacant positions. Okay? Let's stop those. Let's get these people in here, increase their hours so they can have, what, you're going to bring a 2-hour, 4-hour? No, pues no vengo. No, pues sí, aquí bien. I need somebody else here. Get a complete set. So I've been here for how many years? And the last 2 years I've been saying, don't hire 2 hours. By the time they get there, they only work probably an hour. Okay? So, and the food service, and I will go back and look at this. Food service, 1, I believe in the job description, they are to be inside the cafeteria. The cashiers are supposed to be outside because they sell. So I will be missing this. I do have a calculation of the extra hours that were paid last year. Every year it's the same thing. Every year you pay extra hours. Is so many people sick? I don't think so. Because ahorita las señoras ya están cansadas. Están cansadas. No tienen, ahora con este second chance breakfast, they work more. Because nobody's helping them. I don't know how they do the job, but they do it. But they're very dedicated employees. So, you know, I will provide you a list without the names, just the title and how many hours they worked and the hours and the beginning and ending. Analyze it yourself and look at it. Una 2 horas, entre la otra 1 hora y la otra. Come on. But it is a good program. It is. I love it. But give either your staff more hours, or you're going to hire 2 hours just to do the second lunch breakfast. No, it doesn't work that way. Because people don't come back and work every 2 hours. You know, money say, no, I don't want a 2-hour job. I want a 4 or 6. So please look into this. I don't want any of my CSA members get sick in the heat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Redona.
Food service cashier. Those are the 16. Food service cashier.
Yeah, they're different. Cashiers or food service one.
Oh, okay.
I started the description. Welcome. Okay. Yeah, it's 2 sheets.
Thank you again. I, consent agenda, all items appearing will be acted upon one motion without discussion.
I move to approve.
Moved by Romero, second by Calderon. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion passes 4-0 with Magallanes absent. Information J, informational items. 1, superintendent's report.
Thank you, Board President Calderon. I'd like to thank everyone for being here tonight and share that this week we start our back to school nights. Yesterday, Wednesday, September 7th, I apologize, was our elementary school sites. Welcome back our parents and students to visit the campus, meet our staff, and be provided with necessary information regarding our schools and school district. For Cesar Chavez and Jefferson Elementary, because of their student population, we're doing those in 2 days. So tonight was the second day for our upper grades for 4th, 5th, and 6th. For Enrique Camarena and William Moreno, or junior high schools, those back-to-school nights are Wednesday, September 14th. And Calexico and Aurora will be on Tuesday, September 20th. So we encourage all of our community, our parents, to attend our back-to-school nights, meet with their children's teachers and principals, and hear their presentations, and learn about what their children are going to be learning and working in school this year. This month, we will focus on establishing our school and district parent committees. Voting will take place at each school site during back-to-school night for school site council, English language advisory committees, the district parent advisory, safety advisory committee, and the migrant parent advisory committee. Parent participation and voice are integral to establishing a positive school climate and communication, and so we encourage all of our parents who are interested to get involved, participate, join committees, attend our parent meetings at their school sites, so that we could collaborate on their students' education. This week is National Suicide Prevention Week, which begins September 4th through the 10th. During this week, you may see several yellow ribbons displayed throughout the school sites and facilities. Our staff strives to provide information and awareness on suicide prevention. Hope, healing, and support are essential to social and emotional well-being. Calexico Unified School District provides support and resources through school staff, including counseling and psychological services. All students and staff are always encouraged to seek assistance from a caring professional as needed. Our expanded learning program update. Our expanded learning has programs at every elementary and junior high school. We currently serve approximately 500 students in the expanded learning program, but our targeted goal is 800 plus students, and we're hoping to reach that 800 students by October. Our sites offer swimming lessons, physical activities, sports, arts and crafts, and gaming. We look forward to launching hip-hop, ballet, STEM, and Lego education in the coming weeks. ARC is currently servicing the Assets High School program, and they have a great turnout at CHS and Aurora. We offer college and career pathways, swimming, sports, and adventure component that will take some of our students on a camping trip next month. And our upcoming events, our next school board meeting is scheduled for Thursday, September 22nd. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Thank you, President Calderon.
Thank you, Mr. Jimenez, for the report. 2, Measure Q update. When is the next board meeting?
The 22nd, September 22nd.
Good evening to the board president, the rest of the board, the superintendent, and the audience. I'm going to give you an update on the facility projects that we're working on. The interim housing, when we start the Measure Q construction, we continue to meet with the different the different departments. We met with the director of food service yesterday with Mr. Venegas. And next week we will be meeting with the high school principal and also have a second meeting with the food service director on what they want during the interim housing, how it will work for them, because we will have 2 trailers for food service. We want to make sure everything is smooth. The DSA submittal for relocating the 15 portable classrooms on the north side of the campus to the south will be starting this month. Mr. Sanders' office is working on that. We hope to bid this in October or November to a contractor that will move the buildings. And the approval of the site work contract, it should be coming to the board at the December 15th meeting. Occupancy is scheduled for spring break due to the DSA timelines and the interim refabricated restroom timelines for delivery. We're getting a restroom that needs to be over there also, because this project should be going for 3 years for the construction. So the mitigated negative deck has finished the 30-day public review segment. No negative comments have been received. The IID did respond, but only to remind us of the regulatory requirements that we were well aware of what to do. So we will be bringing the MND, Mitigated Negative Declaration Resolution, to the board at the September 22nd board meeting. And before we bring the resolution for approval, there will be a public hearing at that board meeting. DSA plans for the high school master plan are being prepared by Jimmy Sanders. They're currently in design development. And we are also reaching out to a timeline for the DSA for the school master plan and the A4, another 16 classroom building. Other construction projects, the Varner, Jim, and Godfrey. Varner subcontractors continue to experience delays in receiving electrical, HVAC, alarm, and data materials. COVID is also causing some staffing shortages. At this time, lockers are scheduled to be installed in early October, with a completion date expected by November 1st, pending any further delays in receiving materials. This last week, they put the final placement of concrete for student access to the Varner gym. So the Godfrey gym locker rooms, you're aware that it was held up since early June on the termite remediation. There is an item on the agenda tonight so that the remediation can go forward and the contractor can start for that. The CTE shade project, they have installed the footings. They're scheduled to complete by, it was going to be tomorrow, but due to the rain forecast, they've moved it to Monday to pour the final footings. So then the contractor will be reinstalling the obstacle course and Then Western Builders will come in and erect the shade, and then finally they can put in the electrical, the lights, and the big fans in there. Kennedy Gardens, MP improvements. It's 99%. There was a shortage in material that came in, so now it's acclimating, and they should have that in. They're hoping Saturday, but I don't know because of the rain what's going to delay anything. And then the concrete at Blanche Charles, they're still waiting on some of the thresholds for the doors where the concrete was lifting, and those have been held up in delivery. So once those come in, then we'll bring it to you for a notice of completion. Any questions?
Thank you.
Any questions, board members?
No.
No, thank you very much. 3, board reports. These are informational reports by board members, no action taken. Mr. Calderon?
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our meeting. I would like to congratulate everybody at the school sites, all personnel at the school sites, because they made our first weeks of school successful. I've been to a lot of the schools, and it's going good. So it's all them. It's all them. We can do all the preparation that we want to here in these meetings, but if those people don't come through with what we say that they need to do, it doesn't happen. So it's all on them. Okay? Anybody can do our jobs, honestly. But at the school sites, those people are the ones that make it happen. So congratulations to everybody at the school sites. Regarding the ACs, this is a city, a county, where we know that it might happen, where we know that bases will break, because we have this every year. So, Mr. Jimenez, we need to be more prepared. Okay, we need to make sure that we have the credit card. Okay, the credit card that everybody has in the district has one. Okay, we need to make sure that it's ready, so when this happens, that they don't have to wait, because you wouldn't wait here for 3 weeks if your AC was broken in your office. Okay, so you are no different than the kids that we have in our classrooms. Okay, so let's make sure that if we have an AC broken down, then we go get one. We have the money. Okay, because we spend money on everything else, and the reason that we're here, the reason that you sit there, and the reason that the 4 of us are sitting here is because of students. So let's take care of our students first. Okay, but thank you for coming to our meeting, and let's keep having a good year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Calderon. Mr. Romero?
I want to thank all of you for coming tonight. We appreciate you joining us. I want to thank all the staff, classified and certified, for making the first week successful. And just stay cool and stay safe. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Romero. Mr. Alvarado?
So along the same sentiments as my colleagues have just stated, thank you all for joining us here tonight. Staff, thank you guys so much for everything you guys continue to do. I stated before, nothing but good things I think that are coming up on the horizon for us. Mr. Venegas, thank you so much for what you do for our students. It's evident with them, being up in the videos that we saw. On another note, in regards to the air conditioning and stuff like that, that's something that is gonna happen. It's something that we need to be prepared, and it doesn't fall back on the superintendent. I think it falls back on our maintenance. This is something that we've asked for quite a while, and this is something that needs to be addressed and something that needs to be done, and we need to be prepared for it. There's no excuses for it. And it was something that we were notified late yesterday, and it was taken care of. So kudos, thank you, Mr. Jimenez, Mr. Campo, for taking care of that. But on another note, we need to make sure that our staff is aware, or the staff that we have here that are working on HVACs, that we are fully staffed. If not, we need to talk to CSCA and find out exactly what's going on, and just take it from there, because this is an ongoing issue that we've had for every summer. In regards to why we make it an issue in regards to ACs is because what we were spending, $1.5 million. I mean, I think and that's something that I've asked for, and hopefully we get that report, is to see if this is one of the ACs that got replaced, and if it was replaced, how long ago was it replaced, and what that warranty we have on that AC. Because we were using a certain company, and that company, I think, if it is under, any type of warranty, they need to come back over here and, take care of that. On another note, just thank you, and, let's have a great weekend. And another note on our boys for the football team. They're 3-0, doing an excellent job representing us. I know they had a little a mishap today, but that was taken care of. And, they're 4-0 now. So they're 4-0 now. So congratulations. Keep it up. And to all our students playing, student athletes, keep it up. And thank you for everything you do for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alvarado. And again, thank you for joining us tonight. Like most of what my colleagues were saying, congratulations to all the staff that had all our schools ready for our children. I think our problems were very minimal with the exception of a couple of AC problems, but for the most part, they were taken care of right away. I can spell out how to prevent these, and it's just having a maintenance plan. And we've been asking for a maintenance plan for a while, so I think if we have a maintenance plan, these problems can be not eliminated because where we live, but they can be reduced. So again, the problem has been taken care of. Hopefully by Monday we'll have an air conditioner. Also, congratulations to all, not only the football team, but all our athletes, because I think all our athletes are doing well too. So hopefully we can, at the end of the season, we can see more champions coming out of Calexico. So again, thank you for coming, and have a good evening after we're done with these other items, okay? Thank you. So with that said, we go to discussion. And this number 1, chronic absenteeism update. Excuse me.
Thank you, President Calderon, Lorenzo Calderon. The board had previously requested that staff bring to the board a presentation on chronic absenteeism. So our Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services, Ms. Elisa Ramirez, is going to present, I'm sorry, Ms. Hortensia, I'm sorry, Ms. Armendariz is going to give us a presentation and an update on chronic absenteeism.
Thank you. Good evening, Board of Trustees. Good evening, Mr. Jimenez and everybody present. In March, we had a presentation on our chronic absenteeism, so I'm going to give you an update. The first slide that I'm going to show you, this is a really interesting slide that I want you to see. And that first section, it talks about the current grade level that our student is and the last normal grade that our student had due to the pandemic. So for example, if you see our seniors, their last normal year was an 8th grade. But if you see our kindergarteners, our first, second, and third, they really never had a normal year. So that's just for your information that I wanted you to see. Now talking about our attendance, our next slide, you'll see attendance that that you'll see from 2018-19 all the way to 21-22. As you see, when we're talking about the chronic absences, in 2018-19, we were at 12%. It's the chronic absences and the severe chronic absences. Those are the ones that are in red. The following year, we were at 12%. Then 2020-21 at 30%. And 21-22 last year, we finished off at 46%. In March, when I did this presentation, we were at 48. So we did finish off at 46. That's still really high, but I just wanted to make sure that you saw that it was 2 percentages less. So we talked there. You'll see that data. It talks about excellent percentages, satisfactory, manageable, chronic, and severe. The next slide, it's the total absences, and this is for same thing, pre-COVID all the way to last year. You'll see our excellent numbers, our satisfactory, our manageable, and our chronic. Next slide. This slide's a little bit different. It's a graph. If you see the percentage and how many students finished excellent, satisfactory, and manageable, I'll chunk those into 53% of our students fell in that area. And our concern is with our chronic absences and our severe chronic absences. That's the 29.9 and the 16.3. Those are the ones that we worry about. Also, the manageable. Last time or every time that I talk to our staff, I always say, take care of the manageables, because the manageables can either go to chronic, or they can go to, or we want them to go up to satisfactory. The next slide also talks about chronic absences. And remember that chronic absences is any student that is out 10%, unexcused absences. No, chronic absences is any student that is out 10%. It could be excused or unexcused, okay? So any student last year that had 18 or more absences, they were already chronically absent. So if you see that slide, this one is broken down by our elementary, middle schools, and high schools. Those are the colors. But we go down to every single school. We also included our independent studies. The next slide, and this is the slide that is alarming, because like I said last time in March, the schools that were always being recognized for for perfect attendance or for the best the best attendance rates, you'll see that they suffered a lot. Our board has provided Blanche Charles with awards, Cesar Chavez with awards, Jefferson with awards, and I know that even Enrique Camarena were recognized. And look at their numbers, how they are after the pandemic. You want to go back to?
Good evening, Board. Elisa Ramirez, Superintendent of Ed Services. I just want to add one thing that we need to mention is that the reason that we have such a high chronic absenteeism last year compared to previous years is that every student that was out sick due to quarantine, it counted against us. So it didn't matter if the parents chose to do short-term independent studies, and we might have recovered some funding in ADA, but regardless, whether the student is excused or unexcused, we were marked absent. So that's why we have that 46%. It's not so much that our students were not just showing up because we're sick, it's because they had to quarantine for those 10 or 14 days at the beginning of the year. So we're taking a hit. This year, we're still quarantined, but the rules have now changed so that after 5 days, if a student is testing negative, they're able to come back for another 5 days, but with masks on. So that'll help mitigate some of the absenteeism, but that's really why such a huge increase in our absenteeism in last year that we came back to in-person.
Thank you so much for clarifying that. So like I said a little while ago, it's an excused absent or an unexcused absent. An absent is an absent. And right now, with Ms. Ramirez said, even if our students show up to Saturday school, or if we enroll them in short-term independent studies, we recoup ADA, but the absent was still an absent. Okay? So the next slide I want to talk to you about is our SARP process. Okay, our SARP process started on day 1, and that's that little yellow bubble there. So what's our SARP process? We have plenty of steps. So our SARP process started on day 1, and what we had a training with our administrators. We had training with our office staff on that exit and enrollment procedure. So our staff had 5 days to find and investigate any student that didn't show up. Anyone that didn't show up from last year, or any student that we knew that was enrolling for the first time and they didn't show up to our schools, they had 5 days to find them. That's what I said, find the missing child. So we started the SARP process back then. And for those that didn't show up, part of the SARP process is that we sent letters, and we call that the no-show letters. So what is it that we're doing as part of MTSS? Our Tier 1, okay? Right there, that first, this slide here is part of SARP process step 1, SARP process step 2, and what is it that we do for Tier 1? We've been working with A2a. A2a is I would say the company, the agency that helps us by sending out all the truancy letter, all the excessive absences letters. Even they also help us when we have conferences with parents, they send out the conference letters also. What else does A2A do? We call it the white gloves service. So they help us implement, they're going to help us. They've always done it, but even this year, they'll implement trainings for our staff. They have the day-to-day support. They're really the lifelines of our attendance staff. They can call our administrators anytime that they have a question. They're the ones that send out the letter productions. They have a dedicated help desk, and they have an account and intervention managers that assist us, and the data reporting. So that is part of what A2A does. And like I said, they help us with the letters. What do our schools do? Tier 1, the teacher-student contact, the teacher-parent contact, attendance clerks contact, the school assemblies, talking to our students regarding attendance, school activities, engagement incentives, and attendance awareness. And this is also, this is in assemblies for students, but even tier 1, I'll say we'll even have tier 1 for parents, is where we will have parent trainings. Next slide. Still part of SAR process, steps 2 and 3. These are all the letters that were sent out last year. What I want you to see is that A2A sent out 21,351 letters to our parents. But what I want you to see is that first column there. When we start with a number, we always want to see the numbers going down, because that means that 5,841 students received a first letter, a truancy. But then we went down to 4,000. Less students received the second truancy because they were showing up to school. Then the third truancy letter, 1,159. And we did have conference notification for 2,900. The same thing goes with we also send letters for excused absences. So we send out more than 4,000 letters for excessive excused absences. Then after that letter, we only had to, not only, it's still a lot, but half of our parents continue to receive that excessive letter. And we also send out letters for students that were in distance learning. Okay, it wasn't only for our students that were in person. Next slide. This is what we call the save rate. So it's exactly what that other slide talks about, is that when we send out a letter, we want to make sure that that same student does not continue to be absent, and that way we don't continue to send the letters. So this is the save rate. It says right there, save rate defined as the percent of students that do not continue on a path toward chronic absenteeism. For all students, 40%. For our EL students, 45%. For our students receiving free and reduced lunch, that's 39%. Our students in foster care, 43%. Our migrant, 34%. Our homeless, 38%. And our students in special education, 38%. I want you to also see that you have the A2a average, which is really, the A2a average is any district that A2a is working with. And I want you to see that for a lot of our subgroups, I would call, we're under the average. And that's due to not only the letters, case management, a lot of other things that we're doing with our students in our subgroup categories. The next slide, this would be tier 2. What do we do tier 2? And this is step 4 of the SAR process, okay? Step 4 of the SAR process is that when we have when we have our administrators conferencing with our parents and our students of why is it that the student is not attending school. And at that point, we either have an SST, a SART, which is a student attendance review team meeting, any kind of meeting with a parent, a student, administrator, and other staff members. We talk about what are the barriers, what is happening, why isn't the child attending school. At this point, there's also an attendance contract that is signed by the administrator, the student, and the parent. There's home visits that are made, parent trainings. I said the SART team. We need to determine the factors. What are the barriers why the students are not coming? And any other referrals either to counseling or any other referrals to either inside the school sites or outside agencies that we're making referrals. So the next the next slide, and I'm really happy that our Board of Trustees is constantly asking about attendance, because you really should be asking about attendance. And if we have to come on a monthly basis to show you where we're at on attendance, we will do that, because that's holding everyone accountable. You're going to see that last year we had 62% of conferences. Our goal this year should be minimum 75%. Minimum. So that is hopefully a goal that we will be able to meet, that if a student has excessive absences, is already truant, we need to make sure that our schools are holding those conferences, because at those conferences, that's when we're meeting with our parents and our students and finding out what are the barriers, what's happening, why isn't the child coming to school, okay? And that is part of SARP process number 4, is that meeting that we're having with our families, our students and our families. The next slide, that is tier 3. Tier 3, that is when, besides the meetings that are being held at the schools, this is when we're having our SARP hearings, referrals to our school psychologists, our migrant coordinators, even services at the Family Resource Center with our homeless or our foster youth liaison, linking them to our clinical social workers, our behavioral health specialists, if we're providing case management or any other linkage to our families and our students. The next, the last and next slide, this is the SARP process. This is step 6 and 12. So do you still see all the interventions that we need to make sure that are in place before we just automatically say that a student is going to go to a SARP hearing, because you need to remember that SARP is not punitive. SARP is restorative. We need to find out what is happening with the families. What is it that we can do to remove the barriers? So at this step, step 6 to 12, that's when the site already submits the application for the SARP hearing. We provide the SARP hearing notification or we provide the dates and times for the SARP hearing. The site provides the SARP hearing notification. Even at the SARP hearing, then we put the students on a contract there if needed. That's the time that we also find out what the barriers are, because sometimes our parents, our families, or our students, they don't disclose what's happening. And when they come to a hearing, then that's when we really find out. Our hearings before, they were punitive all around the state. SARP hearings were punitive. You know, we were like, what are you, you're coming down with the law. No longer. Now it's restorative. We invite them to, before we used to have them at the city hall, at the chambers, so that was really intimidating. Now we have them at the Family Resource Center in our conference room. Our parents walk in, we offer them something to drink, and then we just talk and just ask and let them know we are here to help. What is it that's happening? The dynamics has changed tremendously from us being, down their throat to we're here to help. And at times, we do make recommendations. The recommendations that we can make at a SARP hearing, it's either we give the students an opportunity to stay at their school, or we transfer them. If they're 16 years old or older, we transfer them to Aurora. And if they're younger, junior high, and younger than 16, then we even transfer them to our community day school, our Pinnacle Hall. The most powerful part of a SARP hearing, even at the site level, if it's a SART, or at our level, a SARP hearing, are the revisits, because that's when we are holding our students and our families accountable. It's like, we've already met with you. We talked about the barriers. We helped you remove some of the barriers. And when we revisit, if the problems still continue, then we have a problem. And the most satisfying ones are when we don't have a problem because we did our job, linking them and removing our barriers. So, and it can go down, as you see, the last one, the worst that can happen is the district attorney prosecution. And the time that I've been doing SARB, which is forever, I don't know, 16, 17 years, we've had one family that we did prosecute, but right now our district attorney offices are not taking prosecutions. So, the month of September, we're not holding initial SARB hearings. What we're doing is our revisits. So at the end of the school year, we had SARB hearings, and the month of September, we are holding revisits, and those are the most powerful ones. So, any questions?
Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your information.
Thank
and it's
you.
all about communication, correct?
What was that?
It's all about communication with the stakeholders.
It's all about communication, and not only that, it's all about building the relationships with our families and our students. What's happening? It's not like, why didn't you show up? In that tone, it's like, why aren't you showing up? How can I help? What is happening? So, Board of Trustees, do hold us accountable for attendance. Hopefully, you want to be seeing not so much a presentation like this, but at least the percentages of how we're doing month by month.
Are the number, like month by month, number of SARB or hearings that we even held and stuff like that?
Yeah, we can do that, but that's not the important part. But definitely, we can
I'm
do.
not saying it's important, but that way we could see, like,
How many SARB hearings that we've had? We can do that, but what I really want you to see also is for us to provide you a monthly attendance rate. And we could do it by schools.
That would be great.
Just like we did on that slide where it says where each of the schools are at, we can have a monthly attendance rate. And when you say SARB, everyone is at a different level in the SARB process. If you want to know how many have gone to a SARB hearing at the district level, we can provide you with those numbers.
Yeah, because that will give us a better, like, what's going on. How can we improve it? We're not having these SARB hearings, like many SARB hearings.
I'm hoping that we don't have a lot of SARB hearings. You know why? Because I'm hoping that all the barriers have already been removed at the site level. But we can provide you with the number of district SARB hearings that we're already having.
Yeah, correct. I mean, I know last year, I don't know how many SARB hearings we had last year and stuff like that. So that's one of those things where, I mean, we need to implement something where we could get these students back and engaged and wanting to come to school, not wanting to just stay, I know a lot has to do with COVID. Some of those barriers where they were just scared and stuff like that, but we're hoping that, now we've moved on and hopefully get them back in here again engaged. And we've seen that, I think, with the 8,300 some kids that we have, showing up on the first day compared to what we were told last year was 7,900 kids that we were going to have. And, that speaks volumes.
And it's a re-engagement, exactly the terminology that you use is we need to re-engage our students and our families. And, now that we've opened our doors more and more, extracurricular activities, our back to school nights, we're re-engaging our families. But definitely we will provide that information. Thank you very much.
Thank you again, Ms. Armendariz.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, go on. And we're going to table number 2 and number 3, and the reason why is because Ms. Magallanes is not here, so we're going to put these 2 items in our next board meeting. Number 4, digital scoreboard for Calexico High School Willis Ward Field. And first, I'd like to thank Mr. Alvarado for tabling this item. It was on the last board meeting, but it was tabled because I was absent. And again, Ms. Armendariz didn't know that I was setting her up because she was getting ready for this this item that I have, and it's all about communication. I mean, the reason why this item is on the board, I had the opportunity to visit a high school with a digital board. They were not even not doing the scores, but they were also engaging the public that was in the sport event. So they were using, this large TV kind of to communicate to the parents, to the stakeholders that were attending the sport event. But I also have learned that there's many other advantages to this digital scoreboard. I mean, and I was really hyped about it, but then Mr. Jimenez said, Mr. Lorenzo, we don't have any money, so we're going to have to wait on this, but your idea is good. What I'm getting at is that communication. They were communicating with the parents. They were engaging the parents. They were engaging the students that were also there. They were not only engaging the people that were there, but they were also selling advertising to local businesses. And this was being done by ASB. So not only are they generating funds, but they're also teaching the ASB how to run a business. So marketing, so exactly. So there's a lot of money or things involved in this. A good example in special events like graduations you can, charge a family $20 to have, your son's graduation picture and his baby picture, kind of say, So there's a lot of things you can do with it. Also, I learned that this high school has movie night for students and parents to attend, where they engage the parents and they talk about the problems that Ms. Armendáriz was just talking about, and try to help them out with, resolving their issues and so forth. So what I'm getting at is this device, maybe not now, but in the future, we can look into it and use it as a source of communication with our stakeholders. So again, I guess we'll put it on the wish list, and we'll go from there again. And that's all I have for this item.
And I'll be just real quick. That's something that I think we need to also reach out to some of the other school districts also as well, and see if they're willing to, go this route also as well, and maybe, do like a kind of like a bundle
Yes.
deal with the rest of the school districts, where we could get something like this, bring it here to
Yes.
Calexico, but also at the same time having other school districts take advantage of it and get it, pretty much like I used to say before, piggyback off of,
Well,
off of something like this. So.
That's interesting that you bring it up, Mr. Alvarado, because Brawley is in the process right now of buying one. They already have one in their gym, and I think the maintenance supervisor or manager, he says that the one in the gym has already paid for itself. Why? Because everybody wants advertisement during, events and so forth. So they're charging $200, $300 for advertisement for all local businesses. So it is a moneymaker, and it pays for itself eventually. And they're currently working on a digital scoreboard for their exactly. So.
I mean,
Okay.
I'm all fair for it. If we could bring it back or try to get some information from Brawley to see what's going on and bring it back and just, let us know what they're doing or how they're doing, and maybe we could do something for that. But that's just, where I stand for that goes. But thank you so much for that.
Well, thank you. And do you want to say something?
Definitely, we could definitely do some research on that and do some cost analysis and maybe reach out to some of our local school district neighbors and see what they're doing and come back to the board with more information in the future. I know that a digital scoreboard for a football field is greatest time is during football season, which obviously we're 4 games into it already this year. So, but definitely something as I did talk with staff about this, and we also do see a lot of potential with a digital scoreboard like this. So I think the interest is there. So we'll definitely look into it and see if that's something we could look for in the future.
Yeah, it's something that was mentioned. I mean, it's something that we could take advantage of. If it's digital, it's like movie night, something like that. I mean, you could run it out there. The weather's pretty nice during the winter and stuff like that, where they could go out there and just be with their family, enjoying a movie and stuff like that. At the same time, ASP could be selling refreshments for whatever stuff and take advantage of that. But thank you for that.
Great. Absolutely.
Thank you again. L, action items, consideration and action approval of the following items. 1, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Pear Deck for software subscriptions for the 2022-23 school year.
So moved.
Moved by Alvarado. Second by Romero. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion passes 4-0. 2, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Forensic Drug Testing Services to provide drug testing services for CUSD employees.
So moved.
Moved by Romero, second by Alvarado. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion passes 4-0. 3, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Lexpool Technology Software to provide hands-on training for CTE students.
So moved.
Moved by Romero, second by Calderon. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion passes 4-0. 4, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Kathy Carson Consultings for Escape Professional Services.
So moved.
Moved by Romero, second by Alvarado. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion passes 4-0. 5, purchase and service agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Core Systems, Inc. to purchase a BISIC interfere panel 4K EKO3 filter system to be installed at Calexico school pool.
So moved.
Moved by Alvarado, or moved by Romero, second by Alvarado. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Renewal of agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Folic School Solutions, Inc. for library management systems for the year 2022-23 school year. Moved by Alvarado.
Second.
Second by Calderon. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion passes 4-0. 7, award of request for proposal and agreement approval for DSA inspector services for construction projects at Calexico High School.
Move to approve.
Moved by Calderon.
Second.
Second by Romero. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion passes 4-0. 8, application of categorical programs for continued funding in Title I, Part A, Title II, Part A, Title III, Immigrants, Title III, Limited English Proficient, LEP, and Title IV, Part A for the 2022-23 school year. Moved by Alvarado, second by Calderon. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion passes 4-0. 9, approval of change order number 1 to the agreement of Oakview Constructors, Inc. for Godfrey and Varner Gym Locker Room Modernization Phase 3 to cover termite damage remediation at Godfrey Gym.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Calderon, second by Romero. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion passes 4-0. 10, notice of completion of Calexico High School Godfrey and Varner Gymnasium Locker Room Modernization Phase 3 demolition and hazardous material abatement.
So moved.
Moved by Romero.
Second.
Second by Alvarado. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion passes 4-0. 11, notice of completion of the digital marquee at Calexico High School.
So moved.
Moved by Alvarado.
Second with comments.
Second by Calderon with a comment.
We had questions regarding the completion. Well, the size, the size, but also but also the completion. Remember, we had those questions.
Okay. Now, you got Mr. Ocampo.
Yes. Well, can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
Because I was just waiting for you to open this up. But so if you're driving down on Encinas, right north, you can't even see the marquee. You have to get to the stop sign, and then you see a fourth of it. Then you pass the stop sign, and then you see the whole thing. When it was first sold to us, when we approved it, we were under the impression that it was going to be a lot taller, and we're going to see something like grandiose. You know what I mean? Like if you pass by, I don't know if you've seen it, because I know the sign company put the same one up at the behavioral health.
Yes.
They run theirs, and it looks like, I mean, you could see that thing gets your attention right away. You know, they're running different ads and stuff like that as far as that goes, but right here it's just like you're driving, you're like, all right, let me go see the marquee, and you're just like, wait a minute, where's it at? Oh, there it is.
It was for driving purposes, for safety reasons. It's at that look. The marquee's at that level. What kind of looks funny, and I do admit to it, is that the top portion is not equal to the bottom portion, and that is a kind of an aesthetic thing. But as far as the dimensions for safety is concerned, if you're driving out of the CHS circle, it's at that level. If you're driving on Encinas, also when you reach the stop sign, we could remove that tree to make it more clearer. But it's at the level where it needs to be safe.
And that's one of those things is you're gonna have to. I mean,
if we make it bigger, it might create a hazard.
We're not gonna remove trees again.
Well,
those are brand new trees.
Is it the height that was approved?
It was approved at the height. If we make it bigger, then we might.
Approved it at the height though.
Yes, we looked at the papers and
the size of was also approved.
Everything was. In picture, it's like when you go on Amazon and you see something and in picture it looks really nice, but then when you
got catfish.
Catfish.
I mean that's
we're
basically.
gonna bring it up to Mr. Sanders because I mean, Mr.
Why don't we
Sanders painted
table it?
real, like-
Well, you already have a motion, we can table it.
You could table it, I mean, but that's basically what happened. It's in picture it looks nicer than what it looks in real
Well, are we
life.
gonna wait another 2 years for it to be, because we waited
Well, I mean,
like.
we're gonna have to come back and bring up, see what we're gonna do, because you know what, it doesn't,
Well then, if we don't agree with how it looks, then let's do something about it.
But the problem is that it was approved as
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
That's the
Therefore,
thing,
you have a
and it's
legal
completed.
obligation
Yeah,
to.
well, I mean, we need to complete it, and that's fine.
I just wanted to make those comments, that was it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Oh, you've also. when-
Yes, I didn't see that.
Anybody else seen it driving up?
Yeah,
Seen it?
well, I'll see it.
Isn't it?
Yep.
Can they put something like running through, like for it to look nice, like at least like ditch, like, I mean, take advantage of it, you know? 'Cause right now they're just using like little words here and there. They need to like really showcase that thing.
The high school IT department is in charge of that, and they
Not
follow
talk
Ms.
about
Williams.
We could definitely look at the relevance of the information that's being placed
Yeah.
up there, and see if there's something that, could be more updated, or I'm not sure what it is that's placed up there,
Put a
but we
spotlight
could.
on the bulldog. That way, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
whoa, there's something there. Yeah.
Oh, that's the only time
Oh,
you
it
can
does,
see it.
but you have to drive up a little bit closer to see it. You know.
There is ways, but we would have to go back to DSA to make the larger portion.
No. I mean, it's already.
Yeah, the problem is, I mean, as much as I hate it, it was completed as
Completed, yeah.
as is. Therefore,
And there's
I
already.
call for the question.
All right, well, there's a motion and a second with a comment, so all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. 12, resolution regarding disposition of surplus acid, non-acid body temperature scanners at Felipe Vega facility.
So moved.
Moved by Alvarado,
Second.
second by
Calderon.
Calderon. Roll call. Calderon.
Aye.
Romero.
Yes.
Alvarado.
Yes.
Calderon Jr., yes. 13, certificated employment report.
I move
Done.
as is.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor by Calderon, second by Alvarado. All those in favor, stay aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. 14, classified employment report.
I move to approve.
Motion by Romero, second by Alvarado. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. M, reconvene to earlier closed session. We're not going back. And reconvene to open session. O, announcement of action taken in closed session, none. P, adjournment.
Did we? No?
No?
No.
No?
For what?
Do you agree?
Wait a minute. We're good.
Okay.
Oh, in regards to what they were.
Yeah.
No.
We that's what we voted on earlier.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't. I don't know. All right. Okay. Well, good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We did. Wait a minute. We didn't vote for.
We didn't vote, so.
Okay. Adjournment.
I move to approve.
Move to approve by Calderon, second by Alvarado. Now we can go. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. All in favor? Aye.